Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are so honored to have the opportunity to share this night with you and one of my most favorite people in the whole world, Sally Armstrong. Oh, gosh. Tonight is a night of education and awareness, and I would first of all like to thank Aberdeen Hall University Preparatory School, my school, for helping host this event. Now, you can see I'm wearing a pretty fancy outfit here. This is actually an authentic Afghan party dress that my friend Lauren Oates brought back from Afghanistan a few years ago for me. And I never really had an occasion to wear it, so I thought tonight would be the night. It would be appropriate to wear it. You see, this dress is actually a dress you'd wear to a celebration, and tonight is a celebration for me. 7 years ago, in a theater almost exactly like this one, I saw Sally Armstrong speak for the first time. That night changed my life so dramatically, and I know it might seem a little funny considering I was only 9 years old, but I was impacted. I learned that night in 2006 that little girls just like me could not leave the house without a male relative. They were not allowed to get medical attention unless they were seen by a female doctor. But the most shocking thing that I learned that night was that girls in Afghanistan, my age, could not get an education. As far back as I can remember, I've loved to learn. There's nothing like reading a fantastic book and then sitting around with your fellow classmates or your friends and talking about it, analyzing the meaning and the messages that we receive. I used to believe that human rights violations would be a very simple issue to fix, and I think all the girls in the front row here would agree too. We just had to raise money for teachers, and we had to get the girls to school, and then everything would be fixed. I now know that it's not that easy. There's been many times over the years that I've felt the opinions of those who truly do not believe that creating equality in a culture or a religious community and creating the belief that every person in our world, no matter what gender, faith, race, political, or economic status, deserve the same rights because, regardless of how hard we try, it will never change. I don't believe for 1 minute that we can afford to think that. I believe that if we have to continue to support and acknowledge and spread awareness to others, because if we close our eyes for just a second and accept the oppressive treatment of women and girls in Afghanistan or any part of our world, thinking that's just the way it's going to be, we are the ones who are contributing to this oppressive behavior. Sally once said that there's no such thing as an innocent bystander, and that is so true. And this is why we are here today. We're here to listen to the stories of success from empowerment, bravery, and perseverance. I witnessed that myself this summer when I went to Afghanistan to see the projects on the ground that we littles have been supporting for 7 years now. And do you know what I saw? I saw pollution and poverty, broken buildings that hid a beautiful, rugged, and majestic country. I saw women and girls who have been so abused, so horrifically, that sometimes I find it hard to even share those stories. But more than all of those negative pieces of this complicated puzzle put together, I saw resilience. I saw girls giggling and excited to learn, rushing down the streets to get to school. Girls who were my age and just a little older in shelters with already 2 or 3 small children of their own. These women had escaped their lives of abuse, both physical and mental, from their husbands and their family members. They'd actually mustered the courage from a place that I can't even imagine and ran for their lives. An act itself that I don't even think I could ever do. Some women had to leave their children behind with hope that once they were divorced, they could get their children back. The pain that was written all over their faces as they told their stories made it difficult for me to even look in their eyes or hear what they were saying. That probably doesn't sound too hopeful, but as Esther, the woman who was running the shelter, explained, these are stories of success. 5 years ago, these women would have nowhere to run, nowhere to find shelter. They would live in a cycle of despair. Now they have hope to start a new life, to get educated. As they shared, my thoughts whisked me back to home, where I thought of all the wonderful opportunities and luxuries that I experience every day and didn't even think about. This moment renewed my passion to continue this work. The most grounding moments for me in Afghanistan were, however, the hope and the progress that I saw. Maybe not in the streets as we drove from project to project, but behind those walls, rooms filled with not only women of all ages working towards educating each other and snuffing out oppressive ideology that hung around their necks for so long, but for as many women that were in those rooms, there were men just as enraged, fighting alongside their mothers, their sisters, their wives, and their girlfriends to restore the human rights that women and girls of Afghanistan were stripped of. Now I want to share something very personal, something that I've been living with for 6 months. In the fall, I became very ill. At first it was pretty simple, mono, just a teenager sickness, but for me it went terribly wrong. It ended up attacking my entire system, and I caught both hepatitis and meningitis. I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would affect my whole body and my brain, but it did. It left me with nerve damage, cognitive issues, and my short-term memory was affected. Now, I want to share a moment in that time that brought all the work that I've been doing, that we have been doing for the last 7 years, to concrete. I had been doing my first speech since I was ill at the Global Citizen Week's Millennium Development Challenge, and it was a pretty daunting task to think of, getting up in front of a crowd and talking to people again, knowing that I wouldn't be able to memorize a speech or even remember what I said, but I was excited to get back to what I love to do. So I put my nerves aside and I did it. And after the speech, the littles and I went out to have a little celebration breakfast. I felt so good and happy that I had actually been able to accomplish this huge goal. And we were all laughing and talking like we had a million times before as the waitress handed me my menu, and I looked down to choose my meal. I could not read a word. All the letters were garbled and backwards. Nothing made sense to me. Then I panicked. I told my mom that I couldn't read, and she kind of looked puzzled at me, and then she told me, just calm down and look away, and then look back again and see if there's any difference. Well, nothing. She ended up helping me order, and after I got home, she told me that my brain probably got overworked. And as I rested up, I was able to read again. That moment will never be forgotten for me. I knew exactly what it felt like to not be able to read. I was panicked and I was distressed. Not being able to read for maybe an hour was absolutely frightening. But this is reality for so many young women and girls in Afghanistan. Imagine if you had never learned how to read. You couldn't read books, or street signs, or a letter from a loved one. Imagine never being able to know whether you were in danger or not. Or even being able to read the postings at the market to know how much you're paying for your family's next meal. This is why Little Women do what we do to support educating females in Afghanistan. This is why we continue to fight every day. We do believe that education equals peace. That education is the key to opening the door to a whole new world of enlightenment and opportunities. Now, Sally. Sally is the impetus of our work. Sally is a human rights activist, journalist, and award-winning author. This incredible woman has covered stories from all over the world about the plight of women and girls who are struggling to utilize their human rights. She's traveled from Bosnia to Somalia to the Middle East, Rwanda, Congo, and to the place that I hold so near to my heart, Afghanistan. Her dedication to females across our globe has earned her countless awards and recognition. Sally has written the books Veiled Threat, The 9 Lives of Charlotte Taylor, Bitter Roots, Tender Shoots, and has recently come out with Ascent of Women, which she'll be speaking about tonight. Without any further ado, please welcome Sally Armstrong to the stage.